Hello, Jambo, Assalamu alaikum, and Namaste. Welcome again to Ammijaan's kitchen. Today we are making fritters. We call them bhajia. I'm sure you've heard them called pakoras. Bottom line, they're vegetable, deep fried, battered fritters, and they're delicious. So let's start by introducing you with the ingredients. We need chickpea flour. I learned this new from my friend Nasrin, and I love them with fresh spinach, cilantro, garlic, ginger and chili, turmeric, coarsely ground cumin and coriander, salt, cauliflower, onion long sliced, and potato cut in different shapes, squares, chip-like, and then I have even shaved them. So a little mixture. So this is all the vegetable, and then this is the batter. So we're going to get it all happening, and then we do need a little bit of baking powder, and of course water to bind them together. And then this I'm going to also make a little bit of cilantro chutney, which is actually a request from Craig. So we're going to do that because it tastes delicious with pakoras, bhajias, and fritters, what we are making today. So we'll use that too. A bullet cup, a little bit of lemon, and chili. So that's all our ingredients, and let's get started. So we have a nice big bowl. You want a nice big bowl so you can actually mix everything in. So just to show you the bowl, but actually before I get started with the bowl, one more time again, the potatoes. This is again from my friend Nasrin. She showed me you can make them in chips and then little pieces. And then what I've added today, if I do this, it'll come up there, just finely shaved. And what I did is I used the peeler and just shaved it. So there we are. Now let's start with the spinach. So I'm just going to kind of juggle here a little bit, move the spinach closer to myself here. And with the spinach, you want to just chop it. I've obviously washed and cleaned it. I've just taken off the really coarse stems at the bottom, but I've left the rest of the stems. There's no need to throw them away. And it's a lovely vegetable, and why not enjoy it all? And it's even good for you. I'm not sure if it's good for you deep fried, but hey, I'm still eating spinach. So you kind of take it in little bunches, and again, like I say, this particular recipe, I should say again, the way it's being made, I have tried different variations of it. Growing up, my father used to love making these. Emma loved them as a child. And as soon as he knew Emma was coming, he would make a batch for her especially. And like I said, we call them bhajias, but my dad did it more where the potato and the onion would be dipped in a batter and then fried. But this is Nasrin's way of doing it. So again, the recipe is from my good friend Nasrin. So let's see how she does it. So there we are. I'm just going to get a little bunch of spinach, you know, nothing fussy, just like that. Get your nice good sharp knife ready and cut it quite small, see, just like that, okay? And leave it long, doesn't have to be completely chopped, so you can just see how that's going to look. And the lacier and the bigger it is, the better. So that's just going to add the potato. You saw the different kinds of potato I was showing you. And not too thick. Try and, oops, a little bit of water went in there. But like I said, we'll be needing the water. I would rather later than now, but doesn't matter. So there, you have your spinach and your potato. Onions. Onions, I kind of chop them nice and long. Okay. Cauliflower as best as you can. Not too thick. Nice-ish. So you can see why you need a big bowl. Now this is where the change happens. Instead of making the batter and dipping the vegetable, we're going to add the flour to the batter. But before we do that, let's put in our spices. There's salt. Oops, I'm missing some there. There. And this is the coarsely ground coriander and cumin. This is also Nasrin's idea. And this is turmeric. My dishes must be a bit moist. I'm having a battle here, okay? And then this one is my, again, remember I always do this, it's ginger, chili, and a bit of cilantro, so that goes in. And then this is garlic. I try and even have garlic mixed in with the ginger and chili, but right now I'm out of it. So we're just going to gently mix this up. Very important that the spices get all nicely mixed up. It's a bit tricky because I think I could have almost used yet a bigger bowl, but you don't want to get too carried away. So there we have a nice mixture. That ginger, you can see it's a bit of a clump, but not to worry. By the time the water gets in there, it will mix in. So now this is done. Now this is where, again, like I said, my friend's recipe comes in, where she makes it where you put the flour in a little bit at a time. Okay, so let's slowly mix that. The idea is to mix it where everything gets coated. You see the little bit of coating happening? There we are. That's it, a little bit of coating. See, you can see the spinach actually getting that coat of flour on it. A little bit more of this. Whoops. There. It's going to be a little bit messy. So we forgot the cilantro. So I've got it already here. The cilantro goes in there as well. And just for those of you who don't know, this is a very fragrant herb. And it is a little bit unusual where you can actually use the stems as well. And they're not woody unless, of course, you go to the very, very end. So what I try and do with this, which I will show you later, is I use from this, pretty well from 3/4 ways down, I use it for chutney. And that's when I use the blender and the lemon and all that. So we'll get into that. But right now, these are just nice fresh stems. Again, including the stems because, like I said, they're very good. No problem there, except something very woody, then you get rid of that. Okay, so here we're just going to kind of clump them together like we did the spinach. And let's just chop it up. And some of you out there are not keen on cilantro. I think it's one of those herbs, from what I've heard. You love it or you hate it. So obviously, if you hate it, don't put it in. It's not a big deal. But there we have it. So that's the cilantro in there as well. And now everything is in. Let's try that again. The little mixture, one more time, just so the cilantro can mix in. And then we'll get the water happening. So you can see what I mean about the flour actually coating all the vegetables. See? And now comes the tricky part. Add the water. After you've coated all the flour to the vegetable, you now want it to sort of clump and stick to the vegetable by adding the water. So that's why the water. And instead of making a big batter and dipping, which is also a way to make bhajia, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different method. And like I said, this is Nasrin's method and I really like it. Growing up, my father would make the batter in a bowl, take a potato, dip it, and then fry it. So that is acceptable as well. It's just a variation, but this one is really nice and I like it. So let's try that. So there's some more water. Make sure you mix it in nicely. And then at this point here, we will decide whether we need a little bit more flour or not. Now this is something you just have to use some sort of gauge in your own head to see, does it look like it's, you don't want it to just be frying as a piece of leaf. You do want the batter on it. So my thinking is it needs a little bit more flour. So here we are. We've got our oil heating up. We've got our blender or bullet, whatever you have at home, Ninja, whatever works. This one, before we forget, it's always a last minute step. That's a half a teaspoon measure. We don't actually measure as a rule. You just see what you think you'll need. You don't want it to be a lot. So I would say about 3/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, and then that will just get mixed in again. And everybody knows what that does. It just makes them light and fluffy and makes the batter not so heavy. That's what we are after. So give it a good stir. You don't do this. You could leave that step where we had done all the mixture for a little bit, but don't put the baking powder and leave it sit there like that. That does not go well. I guess it some sort of an osmosis happens, and as soon as you put it in, basically fry it. But this will just take us a couple of minutes here, and then we're going to the oil. It's heating up. This is our cilantro. As I was saying, use the stems as well. This particular one has rather coarse stems, as you can see. So I don't think I'm going to quite put all that in. Okay, let's get rid of those. My goodness, they look woody almost. Okay, the rest looks pretty good. Here's another wood one. And last one, there we go. There's one chili. Chili is per taste. Put as many as you want, your choice. And then these ones, just chop it. You don't even need to chop it that much. But anyways, like I said, because they're a bit woody this time. So simplest way to do this is just shove it all in there. In whatever cup you're using, I like either Ninja or Bullet. The chili is in there as well, you saw that. And this is the most fastest way to make chutney, and it's lovely. You can eat this with anything. You could even put it as a little base in your sandwich, a meat sandwich. Lemon juice from a bottle, only because I need some movement in there. And instead of putting water, lemon juice gives it a nice taste. Enough salt to give it taste. The chili is already in there, and then basically you put the lid and blend it. So this is our next step. We've made the chutney. We'll show that to you in a minute. We've got the batter already. Just grab it by the spoonful and just drop it in the oil. Ooh, that's quite hot. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And let it clump. So drop the whole thing. Get a nice spoonful and drop the whole thing. The idea is, this is where you get your mixture of onion, cauliflower, spinach, and potato. And it all just comes together. And you can see it's cooking a bit fast right now. So I have turned the heat down. Basically, you want it medium to low. But in the beginning, you want that heat high. Otherwise, what happens when you fry something and the heat's not high enough, the oil sort of absorbs itself into whatever you're frying. So you want it high enough so it just sort of touches the surface and crisps up right away, not cool so it gets into the stuff that you're frying. But here we are. We're going to turn these. So here we are. We're just finishing these. This is what you're after. Crispy, warm enough. Between 6 and 5 is what I've been playing with. And there, you can see the spinach is beautiful, nice and crunchy and crispy. And then just pick up 2 or 3. And then just lean them against the karai, which is what this is. And it's nice to use a heavier bottom one. This one is lovely. It's an anodized one, and I love it. So very gently tip it. And then drain it on a paper towel. And here's another batch. Just flip it again. Make sure you can see the potatoes are beautiful and crunchy as well. So try and pick up what you comfortably can without overloading the jarro or the slotted spoon. Again, just lean it against the edge. And then over onto the paper towel. And the last batch. And this is the process. You keep doing it. We still have at least another 2 to 3 batches, but this is to give you an idea what it is you're after. And there we have it. Bhajia, pakora, whatever you want to call it. The chutney. These are the stems of the cilantro with chili and lemon and salt. And it's beautiful and spicy. And now just to show you, there is one. Doesn't that look absolutely delicious and appetizing? And there is the onion with a little bit of spinach. And there's that big chip potato that we did. So you have a nice variation and people will love them. It's a quick enough snack. Yes, a little bit of time is required to fry. And the biggest thing is if you're comfortable frying. A lot of people are not comfortable frying. And that's the hard thing. I don't think there's a variation of a baked version of this. But enjoy them fried if you can. So here we are today. This was our pakora and chutney. Thank you very much for joining me in Ammijaan's kitchen. Please like and subscribe. And I'm looking forward to come back with another video for you. Have a good day.